Hello everyone, another lesson. Today we're going to have a look at climbs and descents. So the proper way to do them in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm still here at, I think it's Nellis Air Force Base. I'm in the air. It's from the previous video. I want always to have my AirlandFS window beside me here, and I'm going to move it to the side. And I'm paused currently, so I'm going to exit pause and okay, start set the helicopter at a certain speed. Okay, I'm kind of falling from the sky, no big deal. I don't have that much collective. Let me put some collective here. So we get her to speed at around, say, 120 knots. Okay, something like that. And on a stable flight. So, as you probably saw, the helicopter will tend to climb a lot by itself. If I let my cyclic go, she will just climb. If I do that, she starts climbing, but also the speed reduces a lot. Okay, and it depends. Well, this effect depends on the position of the rotor and the center of gravity and the rotor pitch itself. It's a little complicated, but this is not the way we would want to climb. I mean, what we want to do is climb at a constant speed, so keeping my airspeed. Let me just quickly turn towards the airport so we don't get too much far in the desert in case we, have an accident and don't have water with us. I want to be not far from the airport. Okay, let me get back to 120 knots. And you remember what I mentioned about power. So your collective is, in fact, your power. So the way to climb is, if I want to climb, staying at 120 knots. You see here, as I get to 120 knots, I'm not climbing anymore. So if I want to climb, say, at 1,000 feet per second, what I want to do is increase the collective. I have a little too much collective here. Let me just drop it down in order to get 120 knots and my proper speed. So I'm here at, if you look on the fourth line, is in the AirlandFS window, this is my collective. So let's say I'm here at about 50% collective. I want to climb, staying at 120 knots, and I will have to increase my collective a little bit. And the same goes for descending. Okay, let me do something. Let me just put my cyclic trim on. 1 second. So as I showed in the previous lessons, it's easier than to keep a stable course. I didn't have it in place. Okay, now I should be able to fly again at 120 knots in a second. It should stabilize back there at 50% collective. Yes, there is this. Okay, let me just get to 120 knots by losing some airspeed. And the way dynamics works, it should be able to still keep that speed. Okay, no, it doesn't want anymore. Okay. Oh, because I touched the collective, you have to 50 knots. Okay, and climb with the nose. Okay, 120 knots. Okay, here I am, approximately 120 knots. Leave the collective a little bit more. Okay, now, so I'm here, 120 knots, flying straight. And what I want to do is increase my collective so that I keep my 120 knots and at the same time climb at 1,000 feet per second. So let me increase the collective a notch and keep my nose down because it wants to go up. Okay, now, as you see, my collective is at 68%. Obviously, and I'm climbing, still at 120 knots, and I'm climbing approximately, Okay, I have a little space here because I'm going a little faster, approximately 1,000 feet per second. Now, if I reduce my collective back to where it was, so it was, I think, around 52%, and try to fly always at 120 knots. It will go back to where I was before. Okay, now I'm not touching my helicopter. My control, thanks to the trim, is there. I need probably a little bit more than 52%. Just consider that those parameters are not fixed. They're going to change all the time due to maybe a little weight change due to fuel and things like that, okay? But it's an indication on how to actually do that. So the same thing would be for descent. For descent, I will have to, basically, if I want to descend, stay always at 120 knots, I will reduce my collective. Okay, let me stabilize it here. Okay, somewhere around there. I'll find this right spot so that she doesn't climbs or nothing. A little bit more here. My nose a little down. I'm using the cyclic relax in order to, not have to have my hands on the joystick all the time. Okay, now I want to descend. Okay, it's already wants to descend, sorry. Okay, I have to stabilize it there. Okay, I want to descend, let's say 1,500 feet while keeping 120 knots. I will lower my collective and my nose will go down, as you see here. So I have to put the collective up and find my right spot using the collective. So I'm here, you see, okay, this is a little too fast and too steep. I'm adjusting my collective, want to stay around 120 knots, and maybe I'll reduce it to 47. So you see now I have a stable descent at around 120 knots, and uh, I might want to reduce my speed a little bit and reduce my collective as well. And it's micro, I think this is going to be too much collective. It's really micro corrections in order to get that right. Okay, that's it for this lesson. Thank you very much.